Hey, how you doing? For anyone watching, my name's Chris, and I'm actually in my car right now because I freshly just presented the issue I'm talking about at hand right now. So basically, what I wanted to mention was a heavily heated conflict between the Alawites and the Sunnites in Syria right now, and this conflict caught my attention because it's a full-fledged war in which kids and women are being butchered. They're being killed. Children are actually fighting. There's actually a refugee problem now. There's a refugee crisis in Lebanon in which 5 million Syrian women and children, some men, have actually fled into Lebanon, and they're not even wanted there. So on top of that, they're completely displaced from their own land and put in a new land where they aren't wanted, and they aren't even allowed simple opportunities to survive in a functional society like going to school or having a job. They're not allowed those privileges. So yeah, this caught my attention, and basically I wrote a scientific journal about this issue, in which I basically took the two religions, the Alawites and the Sunnites. I compared and contrasted them, and I actually just tried to see exactly where the conflict came from and how the Alawites oppressed the Sunnites. Because the Alawites compose about 12% of Syria, and the Sunnites compose about 70% of Syria. But the Alawites are in complete power. And that's crazy, and I'm going to explain that in a little bit. But let me get into actually how the war escalated into what it is now. It originally started up as a Sunnite protest. The Sunnites would make, posters. They would, do chants, public arrangement meetings, and things of the such. Well, Bashar al-Assad, who is the president of Syria right now and the Alawite, he actually orchestrated attacks against those protesting Sunnites, and through many orchestrated attacks, the Sunnites decided to actually fight back. And now there's a full-fledged war going on in Syria between the Alawites and the Sunnites, which incorporate other nearing religions, and there's just a huge big mess in there right now. So basically, let me just give you a rough little understanding of the difference between the Alawites and the Sunnites. The Alawites and the Sunnites are both religious sects from Islam. Both religious sects from Islam. The thing about the Sunnites are they're more close to Orthodox Islam, straight by the book, straight by the Quran, strict laws, strict punishments, Orthodox Islam. The Alawites actually reject most of Orthodox Islam. And what I mean by that, I mean they actually they celebrate Christmas, they drink wine, they dance with women at parties, their women often, dress kind of, they show a little bit more than most Orthodox Islam women would show. And they celebrate Zionism, which is actually a Jewish characteristic of religion. And basically, yeah, they just reject most of the Orthodox Islam's beliefs. So they are actually considered, they aren't considered Islamic religion or a sect by most Middle Easterns and all Sunnites basically. But another big distinction between the two groups is it's in the name, the Alawites. They are followers of Allah. They are followers of Ali, I should say, to correct the pronunciation. And the Sunnites are followers of Muhammad. They believe Muhammad was the last prophet and the greatest prophet. So those are probably the biggest distinctions I should make right now. And if you want to know more, there are tons of books, academic journals, plenty of things you can read on about it. But the thing about the Alawites are they are a 12er Shia sect too. They have influences from the Shia 12ers. So if you don't know what that is, look more into that. That's a little bit beyond the issue here. But so they are actually they are allied with the Shia, and that's another religious sect of Islam. So along with them being allied with the Shia are also allied by the Hezbollah, which is a militant group. The Hezbollah do not like the Sunnites. So right then and there, there's a huge, huge conflict going on. So, I've explained basically what's going on in Syria, why it kind of matters to me. I explained a small distinction between the two groups, a rough generalization between the distinction between the two groups. Now I'm going to explain actually how the Alawites came into power and how they oppressed the Syrianites. So around the 1920s, Syria was actually occupied by France. And the French actually were attacked by the local Syrianites. So to fight the Syrianites, the French built a local militia of minorities. And of those minorities, that military mostly composed of Alawites. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. So the Alawites around the 1950s contrived a plan to get their people in higher ranks in the military. So through diligent work through the military and the government, the Alawites actually they rose ranks, and by the 1960s, 70% of the Syrian military was Alawite, non-commissioned officers. 70%. So the Alawites ended up getting power in the military in the Middle East. Once a government collapses, the military takes over that land. You know, once a government is deemed unstable to support the people, the military takes over that land. So the military takes over Syria. The Alawites take over the military, and now the Alawites control all of Syria. And around 1970s is when Hafez Assad, that's Bashar al-Assad's father, he stepped into power. He put his closest family members and relatives in positions in which the power retained in his family until present day now, which Bashar is still in power. So my future implications about this issue, I just think this whole world destabilized the Middle East, you know, because Syria have the largest stock of mass chemical weapons, I believe, and it's just a real bad situation, which I don't see how could you possibly come up with a solution when the hatred and the fuel behind this war is so deeply rooted from years and years and years and years and generations. So, and now there are other religions who intertwine and they fight, and it's just I just honestly see this war destabilizing all of Middle East, and I feel like the United States might actually have to intervene, because we're kind of like the mediators of the world. I choose to believe, and we don't need those weapons. We don't need those weapons to be used at all, or improperly, or to fall into the wrong hands, quite frankly. So there's tons of information about the Middle Eastern crisis between the Alawites and the Sunnites. Please feel free to check it out. Visit your local library. Look up any trusted, incredible database. You will find tons of information and read up on it. Read up on the Alawites, the Sunnites, Bashar al-Assad, and just basically get a understand and get a visual, or get a second source to explain or articulate exactly what's happening besides the war. What is happening to the people and the children of Syria? That's just a real important issue to me. I hope if you're like me, you care about other places in the world besides America, or wherever you may be. You care about other people, so definitely look into this story if anything I said interests you, or made you feel any type of way.